Hi, it's Chris Gio from Merchant Method, and you are watching Merchant Method Retail Trend Reports. Happy April. In our trend reports, if you're new to our trend reports, what I do is I synthesize the recent industry news that I'm reading to keep myself and my clients informed, and I combine them with experience-based training so that you can build more profit with ease. As I mentioned, it's April, and if you're anything like me, it's the time of the year where I think professionally, how is my year going? And is it shaping up to look a lot more like last year than I thought it was going to? And this is why our topic for this trend report is challenges that small retailers face in 2017. Why? I want you to get ahead of them. This is a pivotal time in the year to really allow yourself to take the time to look at challenges that might have followed you from 2016 into 2017 and address them now so that you can have your most profitable, gratifying year ever. So here are some things that I want you to ask yourself. This is the same process and that I go through, the same questions that I ask myself as a fellow small business owner. Is my business shaping up to look a lot more like 2016 than I thought it would? What were my big goals for 2017 and for the beginning of the year? Where am I against those goals? Do I look like I'll be achieving my goals? And lastly, so far, year to date, where have I been successful? So that we can press repeat on all of the successes, and then asking ourselves the other question, which is, what opportunities do I have that I can make and address and make my year even better going into quarter two? So the point of this trend report is to bring a general awareness. We came into the year with a lot of momentum. The industry came into the year with a big shape up in brick and mortar retail. And again, I want you to be able to consider some of these challenges, if they're challenges for you, and address them as you either begin or finalize your business planning for quarter two. If you're on a retail calendar, Q1 is February, March, April. Q2 would be May, June, July. If you are on a traditional calendar, Q2 is April, May, June. So be thinking through how you're going to plan for Q2. Some of the references I have are very, very recent from this month. USA Today writes about challenges for small businesses. Wasp Buzz, like Wasp Bzz, posts a really great study, a comprehensive study among small business owners, what the fears are, and they're different than you think they might be. And from this research and across the challenges that I know my clients face and small independent retailers face, I've synthesized into four that I think are really, really common across all small businesses, but in particular, small retailers. So the first one is, of course, paying bills. It makes me feel like, paying bills. In real estate, the adage is location, location, location. In retail, it is cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. The ability to not have your inventory, not have your money tied up in inventory and liquid so that you can invest it the way that you need to invest it. The thing that I would share with you, if you find paying bills always challenging, every single month challenging, if you find yourself having to make more compromises than you need to be making, if you're finding the activity of paying bills getting more difficult over time, really spend the time to understand your revenue and understand your expenses in a global way, a high-level accounting or financial way, but also in a macro way or in a micro way where you are going in to look at your books with frequency, if not once a month, definitely every week, for nothing other than to get your eyes on revenue and expenses. It's not to make you feel like you should be further along. It's not to make you an expert, but it's to get you into the habit of looking at your cash flow. The other thing I want you to do is to monitor this regularly and really inform yourself. And the best way to inform yourself is to come up with a plan. Come up with a financial forecast, whether that forecast is rooted in your history and feels realistic, or whether it is an aspirational forecast, aspire. But if you're forecasting, it allows you to have the companion piece of the finance, which is expenses. And if you have a plan or a forecast of revenue and expenses, and then you're going and getting to the habit of checking where your money is, you'll have a better sense. And simply by informing yourself, it's going to be easier for you to pay your bills because you're going to be making better informed choices. They're not always going to be easy, but there's going to be a lot of clarity. What I should say now after reviewing challenge number 1 is to say, and hopefully it comes as no surprise, that none of these are sexy, none of these are exciting. This is all the hard, grueling work of being a small business owner. Not everyone jumps up and down to address these things. That's why it's so easy to let them hide in the closet. But this is my invitation to you. Take them out of the closet, dust them off, and give them a good hard look. All right, challenge number 2 is increasing profit. Of course, we want to drive revenue and profit, so top line and bottom line. But it's possible to get more profit without changing your revenue. And I often have clients, particularly in thinking through changes in minimum wage laws, how do they address it? What do they do? How do they staff? What happens to their margins? And that is illustrative of an overall need for increased revenue and profit, regardless of an increase in minimum wage. And there really are 3 major ways to drive more profitability. The first is to decrease your costs and decrease your expenses. And when you think through big companies and you think through companies that are really having a hard time achieving profitability, you will often hear about massive layoffs. That's not what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about really looking at your day-to-day expenses and your monthly expenses, recurring expenses. Oftentimes these little hidden things over time, recurring expenses over a period of 6 months or 12 months add up pretty meaningfully. Number 2, you could sell more. Isn't that the dream, to sell more? And you can do that simply by converting more customers into paying customers, by increasing your retail price point just a touch. And then number 3 would be getting more customers. And there are 2 ways to get more customers. They're either repeating and coming back with more frequency and spending more frequently, or you are marketing and driving more traffic to your store or to your website. Remember, profit is a long-term game. I know that you're not in it for a short-term game. You're really in it for the long haul. You're really committed. You're really passionate. I am too. And anytime you're looking at your books, it is just a point in time. It's as if you were identifying where you are in a map and you're traveling across country. It's just a gauge. And if your business is seasonal, the gauge of profitability is going to move up and down. But looking at it and measuring it over time is going to help you really understand the levers, really understand where you are most effective. Is it in driving down cost and being more efficient in how you bring your product to market? Is it that you're selling more and have a great, ability to better connect and better sell? Or is it that you're getting more customers? So the diagnosing will help you understand exactly how you're driving more profitability. All right, challenge number 3. A lot of my clients have this challenge. I know I've had this challenge when I was a manager, either of a very small team or a large team. It's employees. We're humans. We're people dealing with other people. It is the beauty of what we do, but it's also the challenge of what we do. The human condition is very, very challenging. And often I see the challenge, the business challenge around employees come up in a few different ways. The first is employees that they keep quitting. And, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, why do employees quit? How can we keep them on board longer? Or how are we hiring? Are we hiring the right fit so that they are more successful in their role? The counterpoint to that challenge is hiring. There is both a monetary cost to hiring and training, and a resource cost to hiring, training, and energy cost to hiring and training. And I'll say, when there are challenges with teams, when people quit, when employees aren't happy, when the team isn't working together, almost all challenges with the team as a whole, when those challenges happen, customers sense it. Whether they sense it directly or they sense it intuitively, or they're not getting the service that they might normally get, all those employee challenges directly impact revenue. I've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over again in my 17 years working in the industry. Conversely, when the team is really well trained, really happy, they feel really confident as an individual employee, they feel really confident as part of a team, there's a shared, a sense of shared success. It also directly impacts the customer experience. It also directly impacts revenue and sales increase. The other challenge around employees is, for example, you can't get them to do the thing that you hired them to do, right? And so the way that you know that that's a challenge is if you're asking your peers or asking a trusted advisor, should I fire them? What do I do now? How do I get them to do this thing? Or how do I get them to stop doing this thing? And I'll say, if you are running into that challenge with one or multiple employees, really aspiring for and working toward getting a sense of clarity and being really clear about what you hired them for. And was that really the role that they need to be filling? Getting really clear about what they've been trained for and what they have the authority to do. So that clarity. Giving consistent feedback that is timely, feedback that's actionable, feedback that's helpful, versus what I call throwaway feedback, which is situational or primarily commentary that can't be leveraged for a better future situation. Fostering two-way communication. So not just giving communication, but also receiving communication. Inviting your employees to please share. I am a huge proponent for regular opportunities to connect. It can be formal, it can be informal, but it should be consistent. Even if you feel that there is nothing to talk about, things will always come up, things that are revelatory, and things that encourage two-way conversation and feedback. And training. Really allow yourself to accurately assess the level of training that's needed. Employees, we need them, but they can also be really challenging. It takes a skill set, one that's practiced and honed over time, to be a really good employer and to manage a high-functioning team. The third challenge is a challenge in disguise. Everyone wants to grow. Most people want to grow. They want to be successful. They want more revenue. They want to gain momentum, right? If people have passion, they want to share it. But the challenge in growing could be if you grow too quickly. And so why is that a challenge? It's a challenge if your processes aren't set up to scale. If your team isn't properly trained to deal with a higher volume of transactions, more customers coming through the door, longer operating hours, if processes or systems or software operations, anything operational is done too manually and isn't set to scale, to have to deal with larger order volume, more detail, more frequency of inventory, even a space to house your inventory, you may feel overwhelmed. It's a big deal when you grow quickly. Success comes with a lot of responsibility. So spend some time to realistically forecast what the need is, right? To get from where you are and to catch up to growth, and to let yourself think a little bit beyond where you think you're going to grow, so that you can set up some expectations, so that you can gather the resources and the training and the support you might need to lead your team through this growth. So the 4 challenges that face small retailers, really in large part small businesses in 2017. Challenge number 1 is paying bills. And cash flow has a really strong role in the ability to pay bills. And to understand cash flow really requires you to have visibility into revenue, into expenses, to look at your accounts, and to really be aware of what's happening, because with awareness comes the ability to make smarter choices. Number 2 is increasing profit. And again, there's a few ways to do that. It's either by decreasing costs, increasing revenue, or getting more customers. Number 3, if you have employees, it's employees, and helping yourself be such a strong employer and such a strong manager, so that you can set your employees up for success. And then number 4 is scaling so that you can grow quickly. So my invite to you is to let yourself explore some of these challenges that might have followed you in from 2016, that are neither sexy, nor exciting, nor easy, nor fun, and really commit to picking a few of them, or even addressing them all, but being very realistic and letting yourself do that over time. Again, addressing these challenges are behavioral. They have really long range implications. Being really good at any of these means that you will be with them for the long haul of your business. So let yourself have some time with them every week. Happy 2017, happy April. Get cracking into your Q2 quarter planning. If you don't have a process, I invite you to visit part 1 and part 2 of 90-day retail quarterly planning at merchantmethod.com/retail trends. And I will see you next week. Next week, I won't have a formal trend report. I'll be traveling, but I will check in with you live on a train from Portland to Seattle. Until then, I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.